Good morning, my dear students. I'm Miss Tania Poveda. This is Entrepreneurship 1. Remember to save this information on your computer, cell phones, or laptops. Or you can print it or copy the information on your folder or notebook. Well, right now I'm going to do a very brief review about what we have been talking about the past weeks. So do you remember what we have been talking about? No? Yes? Okay, no problem. This is a brief review. Remember that we are talking about financing definitions. Some important words and definitions that we are going to use during an entrepreneurial process. When creating a business, when working for a company, when doing businesses, etc. So we already studied the definition of financing. I already explained this. Remember that financing is where and how you get the money that you're going to use during a business process. So where you get the money from, it can be from a bank or from any other financial institution. It can be from your personal savings and things like that. We're going to review that in sources of finance. When talking about financing, we're talking also about money that probably you invest, your funds, your purchases. And purchase is other way to say buy. As we can see here in blue, here on the bottom, let me use the light. Okay, so we have buy and purchase, they are synonyms. Well, this is only a brief review. Areas of finance, corporate finance, personal, and public. Remember that public finance, it's the finance from the government. Also remember this, do not put your whole money in only one kind of business. You can make more money and reduce the risk of losing your money if you separate it into different investments, into different institutions or different ways to save money, like real assets, equities, bonds, and cash. This is what we call diversification of finance. Okay, saying this, we also studied working capital. You probably remember that when talking about working capital, we're talking about the firm's holding of current or short-term assets, such as cash, receivables, inventory, and marketable securities. So securities you have in the market. The components of working capital, it's basically these four. You have trade receivables, inventory, cash and bank balances, and trade payables. Well, receivables, as we can see here in the picture, is when we're talking about the money we're going to receive for a service or a product. Trade payables or payables is the money that we pay to a provider for a service or a product. Okay, so these are the four basic components of working capital. I also introduced you about sources of working capital. Do you remember how many sources we talk about? 5? 4? You're not curious? You don't remember? You're probably right. We talk about these 12 working capital ways. So when talking about financing, or how we're going to get the money for a business, usually we think about the first thing we think about is the bank. So like you need money, you go to the bank, or you ask your parents, or you probably have your savings. Thank God that's not the only way you can get some money. Here you have 12 options in case you have an idea about a business. You have public deposits, bank credit, this one is like the obvious one, trade credit, advance from customers, income from sales, self-financing, issue of shares, issue of debentures, cash credit, discounting of bills, packing credit, and commercial paper. So this is the way you can get some money to start your business or to put in your business. Today we are going to talk about assets and liabilities. Are you ready? You probably remember that last week I told you something about this, but I didn't explain too much. And I told you we were talking about this later. So today is the day when talking about assets and liabilities. As you can see here in the picture, we have something beautiful and sweet and good, and something that is absolutely not good. Got it? So we're going to talk about assets. As we can see here, this little angel, just like me. No, I'm kidding. Okay, these are assets. It's going to represent assets. And this one, this guy here in red, is going to be liabilities. Okay, are you ready to listen to this explanation? Prepare your ears because the voices of these two guys in the beginning are going to be kind of different. Okay, I hope you enjoyed. And let's watch.
Here, Wall Street Willie. Some time ago, we talked about assets and liabilities when we discussed net worth, but can you discuss it in a little more detail now? Sure we can. Assets are things that you own and can be sold to get money, and liabilities are things that you owe someone. Can you give me some examples of assets and liabilities? Okay, the house, car, jewelry, and stocks you own are all assets. These are tangible assets. They are physical things that you can touch and hold. There could also be intangible assets like copyrights, trademarks, or patents, which are intellectual property. On the other hand, money borrowed by you, like car loan, student loan, credit card debt, and mortgage, are all liabilities. Remember, if you have bought a house on a mortgage, the house is still your asset, but the remaining mortgage on your house is your liability. Well, do all assets appreciate in value? Not necessarily. Many assets, like a house or stocks, can go up or down in value, whereas others, like a car, usually depreciate in value over time. Well, can something be a liability for one person but an asset for another person? I mean, can one person's liability be another person's asset? That's an excellent question, Super Cooper. Yes, it is certainly possible. For example, if I lend you $10, that loan is a liability for you because that's the money you owe me. But it's an asset for me because it is my money and would come back to me when you repay. Hopefully. That's funny. Anyway, thank you very much for telling me about assets and liabilities, Wall Street. You're welcome, Super Cooper. Remember, finance is your friend!
Okay, I'm going to stop here with this quote, finance is your friend. Yes, finance is your friend if you want to start a business or if you are already working on a business, maybe with your parents. Getting a good finance is going to be very good for you and for everybody. Okay, let's continue with the presentation. That was the other way to listen about assets and liabilities. So with that explanation, I'm going to ask you, like assets are something positive or negative for the business? Okay, yes, positive. And liabilities, as we can see here, this little guy. Yeah, that's not good, right? Okay, so in this picture represents assets and they can become into money kind of fast. So assets are going to be everything that you can get money from. You can touch assets like a house, like a car, like machinery, etc. Or we can have untouchable assets like patents, like copyrights, etc. We're going to see about this soon. Okay, so this is clear, right? Assets is something positive because you can make money from them. You can make money with assets. It's money coming in the company. The money that you get from your products or services is going to be made or generated by your assets. And the opposite, as we can see here, this guy is like sad and we see something negative here, like all this is not good. In red, we have loans, is liabilities. So it's the money, as we can see here in the picture, is the money going out of you or out of your company. So this is going to be in red numbers if they are too high. This is not good for you. It's part of the business, yes, because you move money, money come in, money go out. So as I said before, this is the money coming in the company. Liabilities is the money going in or out. Out, right? It's the money going out. That's liabilities. Okay. Right now, we're going to have a fast review about types of assets and liabilities. Remember, they are opposites. That's why we have this picture here, one side and the other side, because they are opposites. They will never be friends. They can work together, but they are not the same. Absolutely not. I'm not going into a deep explanation about this, only something for us to have a general view. It's very important we remember that assets is the money coming in, the money that they generate with the assets is something positive. You can use assets to make money. And we have the classification into three parts. We have assets according to their convertibility, about physical existence, or usage, or use, maybe. You recognize maybe the word use. Okay, when talking about convertibility, we're talking about current assets and fixed assets. Current assets, probably the first word sounds kind of familiar, is when you make money quite fast. Something that you buy and sell, or something that you can sell easily, so you can make cash from that asset really fast. And we have also fixed assets. These are like bigger things, they are harder to sell, you use them to produce too. For example, a building, maybe land, some territory you have somewhere, maybe a parking lot, very big things that you can't move and they take some time to become cash. So this is the classification about convertibility. Easy, right? Well, then we have assets according to their physical existence. And this is something I already explained a little bit. We have tangible assets. I like to use the word touchable because I'm more connected with touch. But anyway, it's the same. So tangible assets or touchable assets, things you can touch with your hands. And we have intangible assets or untouchable assets, things you cannot touch. For example, knowledge. Like right now, I'm teaching something. Can you touch this? No, right? You cannot touch a class. You probably can touch your computer, paper, things like that, but not knowledge. So that's something I'm producing and something you cannot touch. And finally, you can classify assets according to the usage or use. How you use assets. They can be operating assets or non-operating assets. And pay attention to this word operating. It comes from operate. So the assets that are directly connected on the production of your products, goods or services, directly connected. Like, for example, if you have a factory, the machinery you use to produce something, that's going to be operating assets. And all the other assets, those that are not directly connected with the production, are going to be called non-operating assets. So let's suppose that you're sitting on a desk, well, on a chair by your desk. You need it to work. Yes, you need a space to have your computer, some place to work in, but it's not directly connected with the production. You use it to work, but it's not direct. Okay, so finally we understand that assets, it's everything that you use to make money. They're going to be to produce, and that you can become into cash. It can be fast, like current assets, or can be touchable, or something directly connected with usage. Okay, this takes me also to types of liabilities. Remember that assets and liabilities are opposites. So fixed assets are going to be those that is going to take a long time to pay. So when you buy something, you are paying for a debt, for example. You buy a building and in 10 years and month after month, you have to pay for that. That money going out is going to be liabilities. When it's something that takes a year or more than a year to pay, it's going to be called fixed liabilities. So it's a constant money that you have to pay. We have current liabilities, when money goes out really fast, and contingent liabilities, the money that you have there in case of an emergency. For example, a fire, maybe a crisis, things like that, like a pandemic, for example. Okay, so this is the money that goes out of the company in different ways. The name is not that important right now. They are important, but the class is not only about that. So I'm not going to stop here for too long. Examples, for example, we have bond payable, long-term loans, pension liabilities, or deferred liabilities. Okay, so assets is positive, liabilities is negative when talking about money. And now you probably remember this from last class. I didn't want to put it in the beginning because I wanted to save it for now that we understand much better about assets and liabilities. Remember that the difference between assets and liabilities is going to be called working capital. Remember this? This is an example about assets, liabilities, and working capital. So here we have current assets like cash, obviously, accounts receivable, so the money that you're going to receive in a brief time, inventories, the products that you have in your storage. This is going to be $80,000. So this is the money coming in. It's positive money. Then we have current liabilities, like accounts payable, money that you have to pay right away, short-term borrowings, more money paying, accrued liabilities. This is going to be $40,000. So this one is less than this, than assets. On the right, we have in blue, current assets, 80,000. In orange, current liabilities, 40,000. This difference is going to be the working capital that happened to be $40,000. What do you think about this now? I wanted to finish this class with this word. It's going to be very important in the future because it's a word that people and companies use a lot, and it is cash flow. Cash flow. So if you see here, this guy, he's like spending money like really fast. But if you come to this picture here, oops, to this picture here on the left, you can see those red arrows moving around the circle and the streets. So let's pay a little bit of attention on this picture. We have the bank here, we have business, we have the government, we have your house. This represents like a city, a town. This represents a society. So cash flow is how the money flows or moves into a business, in this case, into a business. But this is a compound word with flow, which means movement. As we can see in both pictures, is how the money is moving. And we have some words that are really connected to this, like business, finance, that we are actually studying right now, income, operation, and profit. You already know all these words, all of these, and I like them because all of them are positive words. Okay, guys, so we already finished with assets, liabilities, working capital, and cash flow. This is the definition of cash flow, like something more professional, the amount of money flowing into and out of a business. So this is the money going out, bye-bye money. This is the money coming in, hello money. It's how the money moves or comes in and goes out or flow in a business. And that's it for today. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you enjoyed the class and especially that you learned a lot. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Take care, wash your hands, stay home. Bye-bye.